I have this makeshift container where I have, is it cancel? I've been trying something new, Gemini. The cat that normally sits in front of me, because I'm paying attention to the wall. Now he's in front of my face. And he just sleeps all the time. He's conked out. He's in front of my face. He's a lot quieter. Anyway, this is going to be brought to you by Chibi Cheese Belly. March readings brought to you by the Sleeping Chi. Let's see. I'll be back in 1 second, Gemini. Okay. Gemini, how are you doing today? Gemini, where I am is cold. Gemini 2, it's so cold and the roads are so icy. And then where I live, I live on the base of a mountain. I live in a rural area. So the bus service is pretty non-existent, Gemini. It comes by like maybe 4 times a day. And then where I am, I'm right off the highway. Pretty much off the highway. I mean, I'm on one of the side roads off the highway. And there is a grocery store, Gemini, that's nearby, but there's such bad traffic and everyone speeds along it, and then they have those mountain turns and corners where there are blind spots. So the roads are actually pretty unsafe to walk on. There's no shoulder either. There's no sidewalk. And it's funny, Gemini, I asked somebody who I knew if he could take me to the store. And he was like, oh, it's just right around the corner from you. And he said this when it was something like 12-degree weather outside. Ice and snow all the way around on the roads. Just around the corner. It's like that person would never do that. It was such a nasty thing to say. Not that I'm complaining, well, maybe I'm complaining a little bit, but just because it's so cold, Gemini, and then, it's hard to go and forage for foodiums, Gemini, when you don't have a car. And I've been wondering, should I go out and forage on some sort of trek? Which I also live, not only do I live in the mountains, but in the area that I'm in, the little side roads, there's a huge, big road, Gemini. It literally is like, it has an incline like that. Not like that. Not like that. It's an incline like that. To walk up as well. It's like, I think it's pretty steep. So then it's all icy, Gemini. When you're walking on it, it's like you slide down. You have to walk sideways, but you're still sort of sliding down. Anyway, yeah, the roads are like horrible. And I thought, well, technically, Gemini, I should go to the store and get some sort of food. But I could also stay here and do a reading for Gemini. So I decided to go and do a reading for you guys instead of going out to the store. Which I should go out to the store again. It's 20 degrees, it's chilly, it's icy, it's only going to get icier and colder. But maybe I ate enough today, Gemini. So I'm not quite sure what you mean by no counts, but it doesn't really matter to me, Maddie. I'm complaining about the weather, and I'm complaining about the roads, and I'm complaining about winter, and I'm complaining, how come, Maddie, that February 2nd was Groundhog Day? The groundhog came out of its little groundhog hole. The groundhog should have made it spring already. Why do we have snow and ice and freezing temperatures when Groundhog Day has already passed? Why isn't the groundhog bringing spring? Everybody here should be there wishing for the groundhog to bring us spring. If we all wish collectively hard enough for that little groundhog to work its little groundhog charms on spring, we'll have spring in a flash. There'll be no more icy weather. There'll be no more cold air, no more freezing temperatures, no more ice. There'll be little green buds on everything. Come, people, let's go and like wish hard on the groundhog. Everybody talks about the Easter bunny. We need to start talking about the groundhog. Celebrate the groundhog as a harbinger. Well, usually they say that to mean bad things, don't they? As the icon of spring. Think about it. Little groundhog self with little groundhog nose. We put out bananas and apples for the groundhog. Groundhog brings spring. Everybody's happy. No more freezing temperatures. We can live out in paradise and just ignore the ticks that are running around. Of course, the ticks are running around now, but they'll be running around more frequently with warmer weather, but that's beside the point. Groundhogs. Gemini, that's what we need to work on. Of course, I'm doing a March reading. This isn't necessarily Gemini and groundhog. But I just wanted to go and share my thoughts that I think all of us need to appreciate the groundhog just a little bit more. And we need to go and collectively wish away this cold weather. This cold weather has been here enough. And I guess I am not going to think about going to the store or what I'm going to do for provisions for tonight. Do I go to the cold store? Do I contact somebody with a car and ask them to drive me to the store? Both of them are very not appetizing solutions. Best solution for me, actually, Gemini, is to sit here and do your reading, which is what I'm doing now. Gemini, let's get started. Gemini, I see this reading being for anybody with strong Gemini energy. Do you have a Gemini sun? Do you have Gemini moon? Do you have a Gemini rising? Gemini is your first house in Gemini. Oh, so hello. Gemini, do you have your signature sign in Gemini? Gemini, perhaps in other charts, maybe in Vedic charts, you are Gemini sun. Who knows Gemini? All I know, Gemini, is that we definitely need to celebrate the groundhog more. We can do that, especially as it's March. I'm here to do March readings. I'm not going to direct it on whether it's love or work. We'll just, whatever comes out. Don't worry, a groundhog will not come up. I have no cards about groundhogs after all. There's something else I was going to say, Gemini. It was not related to groundhogs. What was it? Oh, well, it'll come to me. Gemini, thank you so much for the like. I appreciate you. Sending a little heart to you. And Gemini, let's go into your reading. All right. Ace of Cups, Gemini. Six of Wands, Gemini. You're getting some sort of achievement that you've thought of, something that you deserve, something that you've waited on. Ouch. Something you deserve. Something you really deserve, Gemini. Somewhere along the line, Gemini, you were done wrong. in some way. But you're coming out ahead, Gemini. Rest assured, you're coming out ahead. Get more information. Ace of Cups. 8 of Cups. Well, we just entered Pisces season. 8 of Cups is Piscean energy. Hermit. A reemergence, Gemini. Essentially, that's what I have for you for early March energy. I have a reemergence in some way. Are you expanding boundaries, Gemini, or are you simply emerging stronger? Either way, Gemini, if you are emerging stronger or emerging from hibernation, Gemini, you need to be very judicious, Gemini. Of course, this is a constant message I get for you in who you allow in your energy. A careful evaluation of people and their actions and the situations surrounding them up to now, Gemini. Especially too, Gemini. There's been some things, Gemini, which you've needed and you haven't been able to quite get. You've had to go and produce that on your own, Gemini. And producing that on your own, I think Gemini definitely calls for a reevaluation of, or almost like a recap of current situations and just how well they've served you, Gemini. How well have they served you for you to do so much solo work by yourself? Anyway, Gemini, let's clarify. Gemini, let's find out about Queen of Wands. Queen of Wands, I have 5 of Cups. King of Wands. Ace of Swords, Gemini, am I looking at a love reading? I have a Queen of Pentacles, Queen of Committed Energy. Is this a new person, Gemini, or is this a chance to reconnect with someone who you've already had a relationship with? Who you already are on some level vibrating in commitment towards them. I thought I saw a card upside down, but I guess I didn't. I guess it's about a choice you have to make, Gemini. I will say, especially to Queen of Wands, King of Wands, I have soulmate energy here, but Gemini, I also have disappointment. How important are past ties, connections that you feel Gemini, important in light of what has happened? Not the promise of what could be, Gemini, or the feeling of what was with King and Queen of Swords, King and Queen of Wands. But evaluating exactly how has someone who you thought made a pretty good match with you, Gemini, how they behaved. Do you overlook that, Gemini, for the future and promise of what could be? What you feel, Gemini, let me say that too, what you feel could be, as opposed to the reality of what actually went down. And perhaps the promise and determination to do better. How much do you believe in that, and how much do you, Gemini, put stock into that? Because that's what I have here, Gemini. Part of this message, we're going to see Eight of Cups and Hermit. I am going to check those messages out, but part of this message, Gemini, is someone who disappointed you, someone definitely soulmate energy. I do believe, Gemini, let me say this as well, we have more than one soulmate. I believe we have multiple soulmates, and I also believe, Gemini, that we have the capacity in this life to generate new soulmate connections. It's just a matter of getting out there and meeting them and making them. But that doesn't discount the fact that there are multiple soulmate connections, and not all soulmate connections, obviously, are apropos, are good. Right? Your level of maturity, your level of development could be different from the other person's development and level. Anyway, Gemini, I have somebody here in that energy to you, someone who has a magnetism to you, someone who disappointed you, Gemini. And they realize that, Gemini, and they also realize the pull, the connection, Gemini. They want to do better by you, Gemini. What do you do? Well, Gemini, that's up to you. But be aware that someone is coming back. Gemini, this person could have significant Scorpio, Libra, Aries placements. Let's check out these two cards, since I already know that we have a past person who's working their way back, wanting to do better. Ball is in your court, Gemini, of what you want to do with that person or about that person. But let me say too, Eight of Cups and Hermit. Let's not forget too the initial bottom of the deck energy we had about evaluating who you allow in your circle and how, Gemini, have they treated you what kind of support did they give you? What kind of support did they give you when it looks like this Queen of Wands, you have been building yourself up solo, Gemini, essentially solo? How much, Gemini, then do you completely move off to a new start, to something new? Well, Gemini, let me say too, in this energy, Ace of Cups together with, oh, very interesting, together with the Ace of Cups clarified by these energies, Eight of Cups, Hermit, and Queen of Swords. It's like you've been honed in the fire, Gemini. Honed in the fire. And Gemini, I really think you should embrace the new. Gemini, you should embrace the perceived darkness of the unknown. True, you don't know what's out there, but I think it's a lot better, Gemini, than what you've been facing and what you know. You know, go to completely new areas, completely new people, Gemini, and, you know, use these past connections as just a lesson of what you know you definitely don't want. You know, read those warning signs of anything that gives off faint whiffs of what you've been before, and, you know, your experience now, Gemini. You've been through the fire, Gemini, and now you're ready to burn like a candle, somewhere brighter and somewhere better. Gemini, let's take a look at the Hermit. Hermit, I have Five of Pentacles. Oh, Gemini, I don't like this energy at all, Gemini. You leveled up by yourself, Gemini. You leveled up You've been rebuilding yourself into something spectacular, all on your own hard work. Or inadequate support. And a little hard. Of course, the Lovers is Gemini energy. But also too, Gemini, let me say 5 of Pentacles, Lovers, and Justice under the Hermit for your own well-being, for your own self-evolution. You know, you needed to go and cut people off or distance yourself from those, Gemini, that just, you know, weren't supporting you, weren't giving you the soil you needed to grow. In this energy too, Gemini, I will say there's a little bit of a question here. But I think the main message here, Gemini, is to have courage, because what you've had is nothing to what you deserve to get, what you're going to get. You're going to get provided, Gemini, you step outside your comfort zone. Anyway, Gemini, I have strong air throughout here. Signs that I have most strongly. Well, now I have all strong air. I have strong Aquarius, I have strong Libra, of course I have Gemini. I have Capricorn, I have Pisces, I have Cancer. Did I say I have Scorpio? Virgo, Taurus. That is strong air. Strong air then followed by Cancer, Virgo, Capricorn, and then Pisces, and second level or third level Pisces, Aries, excuse me, Scorpio, Taurus. This Eight of Cups clarified by a Three of Swords, the Fool and Devil. It's almost like the fuel, Gemini, to go off and do better. It's like eating space food to literally cross space. You don't need much, Gemini, to go and to get the effort going to make big pushes, Gemini, because you have a whole lot of, I don't know, do I call this angst? Do I call this determination? Do I call this just, Gemini, the determination to evolve and be better? You know, the self-improvement here. Anyway, Gemini, what I'm getting for you overall is for you. Well, a past person is going to try and come back to you, Gemini. That past person is soulmate energy. That past person does have some ties to you. I don't mean current ties, like maybe you guys shared like a house or family or things like that. I mean more esoteric ties, like past life ties, or I'm not going to say karmic bonds either. But you guys have some spiritual threads that are all interwoven between each other. No doubt about that, Gemini. But I also see that person, Gemini, not being one that you should go back to. With this Ace of Cups, Gemini, I think the message I have for you, there's something really special awaiting you, Gemini, in the dark unknown. The people you have yet to meet, the spaces you have yet to go in, the environments you have yet to experience in the unknown, which I think, Gemini, maybe you have ideas of where you want to look or where you want to explore, but I don't think, Gemini, you have the names to those people, and I don't think you have the names to those places. I don't think, Gemini, you know exactly what they look like. Maybe you have an idea of what it kind of looks like, but not specifically. There's no specific person here, Gemini, but they're out there for you to explore, for you to uncover. Think about it too, Gemini, like when you are prospecting for gems. Not that I've done that myself, Gemini, but you know, when you go to like a quartz quarry or something, you have those geodes, right, Gemini, that look like regular dusky brown rocks. And you crack it open. Inside, you need to do, Gemini. You need to go out there to that rock quarry and crack open inside, see if that color resonates with you. New people, Gemini. New experiences. There's something very rich waiting for you out there. All right, Gemini, that's my message for you. Until the next reading, I'm wishing all of you the most beautiful day. Bye-bye. And so his little Chi with his little ears. He's sleeping heavy. Anyway, bye-bye.